Hello outside world. I'm Goldie and I'm going to show you 6 terrible tips on how to pass time in quarantine. I hope my parents don't see this. Let's get started. Just a disclaimer, you might have to be slightly mentally unhealthy for these tips to work, but it's a pandemic, you know. Even if you think it won't work, you might surprise yourself. Tip number 1, mess up your sleep schedule. Desperate times, desperate measures. Before I had to quarantine, I would sleep around 12 and I would wake up around 7 to 10 a.m. And now I sleep at around 4 to 7 a.m. and I wake up at like 2 to 4 p.m. I literally wake up for dinner and my day is done. Oh my god, I need help. So you ask, what to do with that time? I usually think about what I'll do if the pandemic ends, if it ever ends. Tip number 2, spend more time asleep than awake. Or trying to fall asleep and asleep than awake. Or just doing nothing on your bed, you know, just waste time. I'm in bed by basically 12 a.m. every day, sometimes even earlier, sometimes like 10, you know, and I get out of bed at like 3 p.m., you know, I wake up at like 2 to 4 p.m. So I've spent more than 50% of my quarantine on my bed. Also, I swear, I have been called every single day, or almost every single, I'm pretty sure it's every single day, by either the Canadian government, the hotel, or the school nurses during the day. Like, they will wake me up as if they expect me to be awake. The audacity. Like, the school nurse called me multiple times, not just to check up on me, but because we have a questionnaire that we're supposed to fill out every single day before 9 a.m. I know what you're thinking. What kind of monster? Just kidding. Even with the mildly unreasonable daily deadline that I almost never meet unless I'm sleeping at like 7, I'm actually really grateful that the school nurses check up on me. Like, someone cares. Even though I lie at every call. My sleep and appetite are totally normal. Yeah! It's actually really helpful when they call though, because by being woken up mid-sleep, when I go back to sleep, I can actually sleep longer than I would have if I wasn't woken up. So, tricks, man. My 3rd tip is to multitask, because scientifically proven, multitasking isn't real bitch. I find that if I'm doing too many things, I'll end up zoning out. You get me. Keyword high school. If you don't know, you will eventually. Hopefully. Stay in school, kids. Normally, if I'm eating alone, I'll take max 10-20 minutes, cause, you know, things to do, places to be. Obviously not anymore. For exercise, I like to do short workouts because it wastes more time. Not to brag, but I did the math. Ow! My 4th tip is to go down a wormhole. You know, chase some wild dream. Learn about some animal that went extinct centuries ago. Watch videos about stuff you'll never do in real life, you know, the important stuff. For example, I spent 3 days watching videos about F1 racing and wishing I was in Monaco right now on a different life path. I also spent 2 days researching the GoPro 9.
Adding accessories and removing them from my cart, and then I spent an hour debating if I should check it out, which I did, and it was my financial decision, so I spent more time doing all my bank accounts.
And questioning my life decisions. But for someone who only has 8 hours a day, that's a lot of wasted time. My final and probably only legitimate tip is to have a few flags to look forward to. Flags, timestamps, whatever you want to call them. For me, I had 3 big flags. So my first one was day 3 of quarantine, second was day 8, and final is obviously end of quarantine. These are the days that if I forgot to do something, I could end up in jail, I could end up fined, or just have wasted a lot of money. You know, the dream. Yeah, it's nice because those were spaced out, so I had something to look forward to. But honestly, my small flags were a lot more important for me. I had 2 flags every day, and they were, wait for it, for meal delivery. Meal delivery was something that actually kept me from being productive. In a wasting time good way, you know? So sometimes I would be like,
the sun's almost up. Breakfast will be delivered soon.
thank you.
I stayed up and put on a bra at 7 a.m. to film this footage.
Or, dinner's coming soon. I must spend all my energy preparing for the 15-foot walk to retrieve my dinner. Yeah, that was my 5 terrible tips for passing time in quarantine. I'm not gonna tell you to read or do something productive, because honestly, I couldn't do it. I'm on my 12th day of quarantine in Canada.
I just wasted 2 weeks of my life.
I barely noticed it passing by. For obvious reasons. As the kind Canadian health official said to me, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. So that's it for today. Until next time.